All right, guys, time to start. So first of all, warm welcome to all of you. I think some of you already started today and continued also with the evening. Some familiar faces from prior meetups, so nice to see you back again. And of course, Kathy and Seth, it's really great that you're here, and yeah, fantastic that we had this opportunity. So quite quickly through the agenda. It's not a very special one, as you can see. Willem will do a talk, Seth will do a talk, and I will kick off with a small talk. And then we have some networking and drinks. The code of conduct is there, you've seen it already, so please be nice to each other. And you can read what we would like to have. And yeah, I would like to start with a demo. And with all demos, this is a real demo, so things can go wrong. But I prefer to share you even my mistakes or things that don't work perfectly instead of just giving you screenshots, which is not the real world, right? You can find all the materials on the Global AI Community site. We have the learning materials part. There you can find the GitHub repository, so you can do it by yourself whenever you want. And for today, we have a case around the performance of an employee. So we're in the HR analytics space. Imagine you're an HR manager. You have a lot of information about your employees, but instead of doing, right, you'd like to develop a solution where you sort of get, you can maybe also do some interventions. Now, for now, of course, it's just a demo. So yes, you can, bug me with all kind of things. However, I would like to inspire you to say, right, this is something we could do. And if you look at your employees, you can think of many things, right? You're not working alone normally, so you're in a team as a manager, and of course, there are all kind of characteristics about age, gender, position, if you're satisfied, if you do nice projects, etc., etc. This is just to give you an idea. And this guy, Rich Hubner, has created a data set around HR analytics, because there was one, it was on Kaggle. Maybe some of you already found it in the blog I published years earlier, but they retired it, so it's like, okay, what to do next? And luckily, he was willing to make his data set public. It was just in Kaggle before, only on Kaggle, but I asked him, he said, yeah, I want to do that. I will put it on GitHub so everyone can use it. So actually, big thanks to this guy, although he's not here, for sharing his file. It's simulated data, and he's really open for feedback. So if you, after this night, you think, hey, I would like to do this, please approach him, reach out, tell him what you think, because he really likes it. All right, so we have a demo. Now, first of all, data is never perfect, so we will do a little cleaning. I will just show you. And then we will use the new interface actually around Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Services. And at the end, it's really nice that you have a model, but I got really happy with JSON. Now my customers are not very happy with JSON or whatever output. So hopefully we'll come to the end where we can also show you the final results in the Power BI. All right? Is there anyone time managing? Because then Willem, could you do that task? Perfectly. All right, let's get started then. All right, and we will also do it following actually the data science life cycle. So we start with our problem. Let's say, hey, we want to know about our employee performance. How are they doing? We would like to understand it better. And of course, we're getting cross things. So we have to get the data. We have to get a first understanding. We have to explore it a little bit, maybe create some features, model it, deploy it, and at the end, make something where our fictitious customer is happy with, right? Okay. So we start with getting the data. And in this case, as said, I got you everything on GitHub. So if you go to this repository, that's still findable, you will find a file which collects the data, and we get some quick information about it. So This is just, we need some libraries to work our data through. I used R, but you can build it in Python too, of course, or C#. And we first would like to understand the data we have. So what's in it? Well, in this case, he gathered data around the gender, but also race, the age, if people terminated or not, if they're happy, what their manager was, etc., etc. You can walk through this later on. And he also provided, after asking, for a data dictionary. So one of the things, of course, when you work with data, you would like to understand actually what the variables do. I'm from the social sciences space, and I know social sciences in one phrase is a bit weird, but we sort of try. So in our case, you would like to understand what you're talking about. So actually, you have an explanation for every field instead of variable x to n. And after that, you can also have a quick inspect of your data. So you can inspect it quickly, and we see, well, we miss a lot of things. We see some weird things, like, let me see if I can show you quickly. We had something with, it's always hard to see. Oh yeah, here we go. So, yes. For example, little things like, hey, we got information about if somebody's Hispanic or not, and then we have things like, all right, we got no and yes, but hey, some of them use capitals, other lower cases. The basic things you encounter where you drag whatever data set. So you start cleaning, and you say, well, first of all, let's get some names, consistencies. And we want to filter because, yeah, we're talking about the people. So if they don't have a name or an employee number, we're not going to use them for now. And actually, they also need a review. So we have something to train a model with. And then we do some quick inspections and so forth and so forth. And we can start visualizing our data. So if it comes to the performance, we actually have only 4 options in this case. We can exceed performance. A lot of them really meet the performance. Some need improvement. And I think that's a personal improvement plan or something. So basically, in this data set, a lot of them fully meet the expectation. Now that's also already sort of setting the scene. And yeah, it's sample data, so this is what it is for now. Of course, in real life, this might be a little different distribution. And we can also look at things like, all right, if we talk about, for example, gender, is there a lot of difference? Now, instead of running, let's say, just a statistical test, we can also visualize it by, well, there's not so much difference in gender, right? If you look at this, quite same. But we also have department information. And if we look at the department information, we do see there's a difference, right? We see that the executive office, well, it's quite high, but also the admin offices, quite high. And here in software engineering, something is at least different. So we have some variation, which is also nice, because if you don't have variation, all right, then what would we like to train? Interesting fact, we have information by manager. Well, there's quite some difference here. So that triggered me, at least for this demo, to say, all right, we're also going to work with team data. Because we know that the different teams, assuming that people work for a manager from one team, so that's just an assumption, they have very different scores. So let's take that into account. And this is an example of, all right, we have an idea, we know something, hopefully about HR analytics. So what could we do with this data? Now, for example, we can calculate the age of somebody, because we know that age might influence your performance, maybe based on the other obligations you have regarding your household, your partner, etc. It might depend if you're single or not, right? So let's take age into account. So we can calculate that one. And another one is tenure. Are you just a newbie at the moment of review, or do you have already several years in the company? So tenure is the second one we create. And then another one, as said, we have seen a lot of differences regarding the team information. So there is a theory. I'm not going to bug you with a lot of theory, but that's the fault line theory. Let's say it's in the diversity space, where you're not looking only at one variable, but you're looking at the distribution, let's say, regarding several variables. So in our case, it's not only, for example, gender, but we also look at somebody's age, somebody's race, like ethnicity, and somebody's pay rate, because maybe that could trigger some differences. So instead of just looking at one variable, you look at many of them, and you actually get a score out of it. So it's sort of a risk score. Like if it's very high, a team might divide up into 2 or 3 or even more subgroups, and that's not always good for performance. It depends, but at least it has some influence. So we do that too. We create a nice, it's called a fault line score. We calculate it. We calculate the fault line score for every team. So what's the risk of that they could split out into several teams? And we see, for example, one manager only has 2 people, well, then you cannot do the calculation. So it's sort of like, well, I mean, then you're just 2 individuals and you're not a group anymore. And we add everything. All right, then we add everything and we store our data. And actually now we're ready to start with Azure, because now we did set, let's say, the cleaning. We also made a validation set for now, so at the end we can use our model with the validation set, and we have a training set. So here we save the validation, well, and we have the training. So now we've done that, we can start with actually the training of the model. And for that I want to show you the new interface. Who've seen this one? Yeah, I see some. Okay, good, nice. Looking forward to hearing your feedback also. But one of the things is that you can upload a data set. So that's what we're actually going to do. And the nice thing is that you can also inspect the data quite quickly. So we're going to create it. For now, I just take a local file. Of course, you could also get it from Azure directly. And I take my, let's say, newly created data set from our PBNN. And you can say, all right, I want to give it a name. So today it's, let's say, 3009. It's tabular. You can give it a description. And you can start with your inspection. So, it's good. Nice thing also that now you can use a delimiter. I know for many Dutch people that was also always a problem because Azure required commas and Dutch people used a semicolon. Now you can use it, you can change it actually. So that's good. Well, it already recognizes that we have a header, so nothing to do there. And as you can see, it even recognizes things like dates, right? It's already pre-formatted. And here we see our also, you know, our full line score, it's everything there. So we can go to the next step. And that's actually, all right, which data would you like to include? Well, in this case, I don't need, for example, an employee's name. Maybe you don't want to store that sensitive data in this data set, just an ID is fine. I have a marriage description, so the ID is not necessary, so just skipping out a few here. If you read through the description, you know what to eliminate and what not. I do want to know where they come from. Pay rate's interesting. Termination, not yet. The position is nice. Where do they live? That also gives you some socioeconomic status. Date of birth, we're not going to use that because we used their age. And then we got their gender and description. This is also fine. Date of hire is not necessary anymore because we got tenure, so we know how long they're working for us. Date of termination, also not for now. Their status is either active, because you can even see it what it is. So they're all active, we don't want that. Manager ID is not because we use the name. In this case, because the ID was missing for some. And then actually, if they did last special projects, also interesting. And the review date is not necessary anymore. We know that when this was the days where they were late in the last 3 days, we inspected it already, and everything is 0. So it's it's just a continuous variable or just a constant. We don't need it. All right. So basically, we are there, and yeah, it's just new. So I have to flip a little bit back. That will be fixed, I think. And you can say, all right, we're done. And there it's creating the data set. Yeah, and there it is. So good news. Now we can start training the model. And for this case, I use the automated ML. And yeah, I played already a little bit with it in this in my research group. So you got an overview of what you've done, what worked, what didn't work, and other things. And here you can also select them. That's what we do afterwards, because I'm not going to let you wait for 20 minutes to train it, but just showing you how you could do it. Now we have the data, so we can create it, and we call it HR, let's say 3009. And you need a compute. That's fine. I already created one, but if you don't have a compute, you can create it here also. And then there's the next step. And we're going to select our newly uploaded data set. And the good news is that you can use profiling. If you have a compute with at least one node, you can also see your data. So you can inspect it. So if you look at the managers, for example, you see the ID is not so interesting. But for example, if people come from a diversity job fair or not, you see the distribution of the pay rate. You also get information around if you're the count, so how many observations do you have? Are you missing things? Minimum, maximum, etc., etc. So it gives you a quick impression. Already you did it, but it's nice to have some insights. So you got a preview, and now if we want to train a model, we have to maybe eliminate some information. For example, we don't want the employee ID because that's an identifier. So, but furthermore, we're actually quite okay. So, and at the end, yeah, we got our performance score. That's our dependent variable. That should be in here, of course. So basically, by just eliminating the employee number, we're fine. And we have a classification task because, as you remember, we had 4 categories, right? So we are in the classification space. And our target is our performance. So here we go. We got the performance score. And then you have some advanced settings. So you can choose on what you're training. So do you want to be accurate, right? Or do you have other metrics to train the model on? Now the good thing is it's a primary metric, but when you've trained the model, you will also get all the other metrics. But for now, well, we're fine. We want to be accurate. So we want to know for every single class what they would do or not. Here you can choose how many minutes the job will train. Well, for now, let's say 10 minutes, but as said, I will continue with another model what you already have and not let you wait. And you have a lot of options here. Like, for example, the whole pre-processing part, that's literally a tick in the box right now. Okay, so that's really nice. You can also say number of cross-validations. Well, for now, it's fine. And you could exclude also algorithms, but we're not going to exclude anything. So basically, it's just hit start and you go. So now it will create, it will spin up everything, it will run. And of course, I'm not going to let you wait for 10 minutes and a little bit to get it started. So we'll go back with the results from a model I trained yesterday. So if we come, you say it's preparing here, but this one is completed. And this is what you get. So the nice thing, what it does, we say, all right, just use a set of algorithms based on the fact that we're in the classification space. You get all the cores and the time it runs and find the optimum. So instead of looking for the optimum yourself, it's finding the optimum. And at the end, it comes up with the best score. So it could be, for example, the first run was actually quite okay. But in the 11th iteration of it, that was at the end the algorithm that did the job, or the model that did the job. So what you can then do is say, all right, you see all the different scores, right? That's my best metric, is the red line. And when it's ready, you can say, all right, deploy it. Or you can download it. So the nice thing also, you can deploy to every device you want, actually. You can download the pickle file, then you're also happy. You can do whatever you want with it. But for now, we just deployed it. So there it is. You can also click on it, actually. You get some more insights. You get all kind of metrics. You get also the other metrics. As I said, for example, we selected the accuracy score. But as you can see, there are a lot of other variables and KPIs you could use. Now we also have to be honest, because at the end, if you look at this model, well, 77% accuracy. If you remember the bar charts where you saw like the fully meet, right? Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, we already knew that more or less. And if you look at the confusion matrix, you also see that the model is pretty good in predicting fooling meets. But yeah, that's also sort of a demo for sake of a demo. That's like, okay, good. We know that, but it's also the idea that it can do it. It also gives you the information, so you can decide for yourself whether you would need to do something else. But for now, for demo's sake, we're good to go. So the good thing is we've deployed it. Right, so if we look at the models, this was the one yesterday, it's there, and now we can use it. Because remember, when we cleaned the data, we set also a little bit of data apart. And now, of course, you want to use this model, right? I mean, it's a nice model, but hey, what are we going to do with it? And the nice thing is that you can use Power BI nowadays to invoke your model. So no heavy coding. It's basically, I already got it open. Oh, shit. It's basically creating a new flow connected to your model and use it in your normal Power BI reports. So for that, we're going to the workspace. Let me see. I'll go to a data flow. Yes, please, today. Don't save. Good. All right. So we're going to make a new flow. And we're going to use the validation set to connect it to the model. And then we can basically then run it in Power BI. So we create a new one. And we add a new entity. One step I forgot, I uploaded also the validation set to Azure. So it's in the blob storage. And let me see if this can find my session. No. But hey, here we go. Good. The nice thing actually when you create a workspace is that it creates also storage for you. So here we got a storage. And there we go. So we need an access key in this case. Please don't make copies of that. But hey, it's fine. So we're going to select the file. And I uploaded it to the data blob. There's my container. And there it is. We see the validation. There you go. Yeah. Fingers crossed that it does import it. Yes. Good. Phew. Good, that's there. So this is our small validation set that we saved apart to run the model with. And as you can see, we got here the manager name, etc., etc. But we don't have our performance score here, right? Of course, we removed that because this is a validation set. So it's not there. Okay, so now how do we get it? Well, we have here a nice option. We got AI Insights. So if we use this one, we have the option to use our deployed models. A little bit of patience. I still have 4 minutes, so I think we're doing fine. And I take the model from yesterday. So this is the model I trained. And the good thing is what it will do, it will map the information in your file with the required values, actually, so with the required variables. So basically, it's already pre-formatted because everything, in this case, everything matches, right? If not, if, for example, your file has a different naming, then you can select it here and you can assign it. But in this case, as every variable name is unique and it's the same, it will detect it. So you can say apply. And yeah, we got a warning, but that's good. And now at the end, it adds the prediction. All right, so now you're actually good to go. And because these are things you can, of course, schedule. So now it's just, let's say, one little validation step. But imagine you have running data, right? There's coming data in over time. So you can schedule that. All right, so we're saving it. All right.
Does it also come with an accuracy value?
No, this only comes with the outcome.
Okay.
Really the label. But maybe, I haven't checked that, if there's a possibility to add actually the probability of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to find out. So now we've defined our flow, and we can get that data in. So we start just Power BI Desktop, for example. And we're going to get the data from the newly saved flow. Yep. Connect. Okay, we go to our space. It's this one. We saved it as HR39. And we got our data file. And it's empty because it's probably filling it out. Yeah, that's always the bad part. Now the table will be empty because it's still processing. But maybe. Okay, good. Please. Should refresh. Simply load it. Okay. Just 1 minute to go. Let's see if we can make it work. Nah. Try again. And this is really a matter of time because it just takes a little bit of time. Nah, I'm sorry. I think we have to wait a little bit. I can show you at the end of the evening. Well, you get the idea. You get your data set in, and you have the prediction. And it's really the one-on-one based on your data flow. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time, and my time is up. But I will show you in a few minutes. I will just turn my screen, and then everyone can see that it's there. So that's it for now. Automated ML from A to Z with a little, well, Z shall be there, but I think you get the idea.